तो मैंने कहा आपने इसको थोड़ा सा लाइट कर लिया,
ठीक है।
कोई बहुत सीरियस गुफ्तगू नहीं करेंगे। मीट द ऑथर जो है उसमें काफी
मैं ये
कुछ।
कह रही थी, अब तो जो गहमा गहमी पहले होती थी ना वैलेंटाइंस डे की, शायद वो कम
अच्छा,
हो गई है।
अनम, ये डॉक्टर शुमाइला भी आपके शहर से हैं, लाहौर से?
अस्सलाम वालेकुम
अ,
डॉक्टर
नाइस टू
आलम।
मीट यू, वालेकुम सलाम।
जो जो फैंस हैं इंडिया से, उन्होंने आज हमें ज्वाइन किया है।
Thank you everybody for joining. Friday, Valentine's, I really appreciate everybody who made time.
Hi, Anand. We spoke, I think, a few months back on your book. Uh,
Yeah,
Nice to meet
good
you
to see
again.
you.
Good to
Good
see
to
you.
see you. Thanks for
Looking forward to
joining.
the interaction today.
नहीं,
So,
of course, नहीं, I'm always बल्कि very honored जब कोई भी मेरे काम के साथ engage करे, in any capacity. So it's always an honor for me to hear, that you were interested, that it spoke to you in some way. So thank you.
अच्छा अनम, ये बताइए कि थोड़ी थोड़ी गुफ्तगू शुरू करते हैं, क्योंकि आज हैं ही सवालात और जवाबात उनके। आपने जो किताब लिखी थी, पहली किताब गालबन, द फुटप्रिंट्स ऑफ पार्टीशन जो है, उसमें आपने लिखा था कि अपने फादर के हवाले से कि आपकी वजह से मैंने लिखना शुरू किया। तो दूसरा ये था कि आपने मुझे जो है रिमोट कंट्रोल की बजाय बुक्स जो हैं वो एनकरेज किया।
हम्म।
मुझे ये बताइए कि आपके लिए यही जो जो स्किल है और यही लव फॉर रीडिंग राइटिंग जो है, वो आगे ट्रांसफर करना, आजकल के जो कॉन्टेक्स्ट है एआई का और बाकी सारा सोशल मीडिया, इसमें कितना चैलेंजिंग होगा? मैं सोच रहा था कि ये आपसे पूछा जाए कि अगली जनरेशन में ये कितना आपके लिए आसान या कितना मुश्किल होगा।
And that's a great question. I think मुश्किल है, and I think इस पे people have talked about it. A lot of parents are talking about the difficulty as well. Especially AI है, फिर technology है, social media है. There's so many forms of information, and I think अभी मैं देख रही थी डॉन ने पिछले हफ्ते आई थिंक वो स्टडी की है that was going viral. मुझे अब numbers भूल गए हैं, but पाकिस्तान में कितनी किताबें पब्लिश हो रही हैं एंड रीडरशिप क्या है एज कंपेयर टू इंडिया टू बांग्लादेश एंड आई थिंक ये एक वर्ल्ड ओवर प्रॉब्लम है कि रीडरशिप इज बीइंग is declining, but I think it's a problem very specific to Pakistan, amplified है in some ways because हमारी जो पब्लिशिंग इंडस्ट्री के challenges हैं, कम किताबें पब्लिश होती हैं, जितनी कम सर्कुलेशन होती है, and that's all related to the readership culture as well, right? The informing each other. पब्लिश किताबें कम हो रही है, रीडरशिप कम है, तो
हम्म।
किताबें भी कम पब्लिश हो रही हैं, तो देयर इज अ रिलेशनशिप बिटवीन बोथ ऑफ देम. So I think it is challenging, but I also do believe that we can do it. I also believe there's a power in reading जो there's a kind of storytelling जो हमें कहीं और से नहीं मिल सकती. And so I know, for example, in my circle, a lot of people who Kindle पे पढ़ते हैं या Kindle की तरफ गए, came back to reading paper
हम्म।
back because there's
हम्म।
something about holding a book वो एक बहुत intimate experience होता है.
हम्म।
And so I know, for example, I have a 2-year-old daughter, and she loves books. And I see what books do that nothing else can for her. उसकी जो imagination, जो spark होती है, वो फिर stories बनाती है, वो अपने आप को characters में ढूंढती है, देखती है, and she's only 2 years old. So I do think कि challenges हैं, and I think everybody's figuring out. I don't have a solution. I'm studying right now, and even my professors talk about this कि AI का use हम avoid नहीं कर सकते. I think that's the solution either. कि आप
हम्म।
बिल्कुल ना use करें या बच्चों को आप कहें कि ना इस्तेमाल करें. Social media is a reality. AI is a reality, right? I think we have to figure out इसको navigate किस तरह करना है, इसको leverage किस तरह करना है. I don't think it's an either or from me. I think both will have to coexist, and I do believe that books will continue to always coexist. That's my hope. That's my belief. उसको cultivate कैसे करना है वो culture. I think जब जब भी किसी एज में भी आपको किताबों की या पढ़ने की दिलचस्पी अगर हो जाए और आप एक दफा आपको वो हुक मिल जाए, you don't leave it. आपका वो जरूर होगा period of reading. I go through that. This year I've read really less. You will always come back to it. That
हम्म।
that love will remain. So yeah, I don't have any expert answer, but I hope that we are able to sustain it.
हम्म। बिल्कुल ठीक। अच्छा, अनम, मैं देख रहा था किस्सा के नाम से जो आपका रिसेंटली जो प्रोजेक्ट है, इसके बारे में थोड़ा बताइए डिटेल में। ये उबर ड्राइवर्स के साथ ये वही ओरल हिस्ट्री टेक्निक्स को यूज करते हुए क्या आप प्लान कर
इसकी
रहे
थोड़ी सी
हैं?
बैक स्टोरी, आई टेक दिस अपॉर्चुनिटी टू टॉक अबाउट अ फ्यू थिंग्स। सो जब मैं रिलोकेट मैंने किया पाकिस्तान से कनाडा, 5 साल हो गए हैं, तो आई हैड टू सिट डाउन एंड रियली थिंक कि जो मेरी आर्टिस्टिक प्रैक्टिस है, जो ओरल हिस्ट्री की प्रैक्टिस है या स्टोरी टेलिंग राइटिंग की प्रैक्टिस है, वो मैं उसी तरह कंटिन्यू कर सकती हूँ कनाडा से। हमारी जो आर्ट फॉर्म है वो तब्दील होती है जब हम किसी थर्ड स्पेस में होते हैं, जब हमारी ऑडियंस चेंज होती है। एक मेरी ऑडियंस है पाकिस्तान में, इंडिया में, दैट आई कंटिन्यू टू एंगेज विद। देयर इज आल्सो न्यू ऑडियंस इन कनाडा। तो मैंने बहुत सोचा कि जो मैं स्टोरीज लिखती हूँ उसकी एक तो एक क्वेश्चन होता है एपेटाइट कितनी है। आई
हम्म।
थिंक मेरे लिए एक और इम्पोर्टेंट सवाल था। आई वॉज नॉट सो प्रीऑक्यूपाइड विद कि एपेटाइट है या नहीं है। मेरा सवाल इंटरप्रेट कैसे होगी और इसका मीनिंग क्या है इस सोसाइटी में।
हम्म।
पाकिस्तान, इंडिया, बांग्लादेश में मैंने जो काम किया है, कश्मीर में मैंने जो काम किया है, आई रियली होप कि जो मेरा काम है इन सम वे चैलेंज करता है जो ऑफिशियल डिस्कोर्स है, ऑफिशियल नैरेटिव है। दैट्स समथिंग दैट आई होप टू डू समथिंग। माय
ठीक।
वर्क इज पॉलिटिकल फॉर मी। मैं बिल्कुल, आई डोंट बिलीव इन एपॉलिटिकल वर्क एट ऑल। सो माय
ठीक।
वर्क इज पॉलिटिकल, इट गोज अगेंस्ट द ग्रेन इन सम वे। मगर अगर मैं वही स्टोरीज कनाडा में लिखूं तो इन सम वेज इट
हम्म।
reinforces जो स्टीरियोटाइप है ऑफ प्लेसेस लाइक साउथ एशिया।
हम्म। ठीक।
राइट, अगर मैं फॉर एग्जांपल लिख रही हूँ ऑपरेशन के बारे में, human rights violations, I will continue doing that. I will absolutely continue doing that. But when I write that for a white audience, the meaning changes. I
हम्म।
end up reinforcing the narrative, the dominant narrative, the Islamophobic
हम्म।
narrative as well.
हम्म।
तो उसको मैं किस तरह disrupt कर सकती हूँ while being honest and authentic, right? जो
हम्म।
stories matter करती हैं उन, I will never say stop writing them. I don't also believe, मेरा एक बड़ा मुझे इससे contentious में मेरा relationship है this idea कि positive Pakistan या positive image. I think ये जो binary है, they don't believe it. Reality is more complex. So मेरा वो बिल्कुल पर्पस नहीं है कि मैं ये बात ना करूं, बिकॉज
ठीक।
अगर मैं बात नहीं करूंगी तो ऐसा होगा कि चीज हो ही नहीं रही। वो
ठीक।
मसले हैं। आई एम करंटली, मेरा एक ऑनगोइंग जो ओरल हिस्ट्री प्रोजेक्ट है, रिसर्च प्रोजेक्ट है, इज अराउंड मॉब वायलेंस इन इंडिया एंड पाकिस्तान। सो आई एम कंटिन्यू डूइंग दैट वर्क, बट आई आल्सो वांट टू थिंक अबाउट, how can I, what is the official narrative here, and how can I in some way use oral history and whatever I've learned to disrupt that. And Canada में एक story है in Canada, a large story that everybody buys outside of Canada, and many people buy in Canada, is of immigration. Right? Canada is this land of immigration, and everybody is welcome, and Canada is very inclusive. And I think that is partially true. I also think the reality is more complicated. So Kissa ka jo idea tha kind of came from this, this questioning I was doing, this curiosity I had कि ये मैं इधर अपना आर्ट फॉर्म को किस तरह मैं ट्रांसलेट करूं, ओरल हिस्ट्रीज कौन सी मैटर करती हैं टू द लोकल कम्युनिटीज है. And so I thought, okay, immigration is something that Canada talks about a lot. Well, what is the story that immigrants want to tell? कहाँ तक वो स्टोरी ओवरलैप करती है, नीटली फिट करती है ऑफिशियल नैरेटिव के साथ, और कहाँ पे उसमें पंक्चुएशंस हैं, डिस्ट्रप्शंस हैं, रेजिस्टेंस है. And so that's how the work began. मैंने शुरू किया, this is something I run with my partner Harun Khalid, जो he's also a writer, he writes on religion and culture. So we both started this together, and हमारा जो पहला प्रोजेक्ट था वो डायस्पोरिक कम्युनिटीज के साथ था. So हमने कुछ पैलेस्टीनियन फैमिलीज के साथ काम किया, सिख फैमिलीज, पंजाबी फैमिलीज, सिंधी फैमिलीज, टू अंडरस्टैंड कि जो पार्टीशन की लेगेसी है वो थर्ड कंट्री में किस तरह इमर्ज होती है. कोई आप अपने साथ शायद मटेरियल चीज लेके आए हों, उस तरह ट्रांसलेट होती है. पीपल शोड अस लाइक फैब्रिक वो लेके आए, या ब्लैंकेट्स वो लेके आए फॉर एग्जांपल, या वो इनहेरिट कैसे होती है अक्रॉस कंट्रीज, आप पास ऑन कैसे करते हो वो लेगेसी, उस पर हमने तो फोकस किया. वो ऑनगोइंग हमारा काम है. But another project we really wanted to do was Driving Canada. इसका नाम है Driving Canada, front seat view of immigration through Uber. The reason we did this is because in the recent years, Canada has focused a lot on skilled immigration. Canada का narrative तो है कि we are open to everybody. That's not true. Canada handpicks who it will allow in. बहुत rigorous system होता है that I also went through. आपको points चाहिए होते हैं, you have to take your IELTS exam and you have to show a lot of financial proof, etc. So highly skilled जो workers हैं, especially global south, particularly South Asia as well as other countries जो इधर आ रहे हैं because the federal government has told them कि आपकी जो qualifications हैं they matter and उसकी कोई equivalency इधर होगी and you can come and build a new life. When they come here and they land, we don't really hear what happens to them after. So the story then is just stereotypic image is always an upward mobility, and that is not the reality. So a lot of this particular project is shaped by my own personal experiences. जब मैं 2019 में इधर आई पहले तो मैं I went back to school, I did a master's. उसके बाद I started looking for work and I ran into a lot of issues. मुझे पहले interview calls ही नहीं आती थी and I couldn't understand why. And then somebody told me, who was an HR professional, कि पाकिस्तान का नाम take it off your resume, and I did that, and that's when I started getting interview calls. तो कनाडा में जो systemic racism है इस तरह institutionalized है. ये मेरा एक personal experience था. I have faced a lot of challenges. कहीं जगह पे मैं overqualified थी, जो senior roles थे उसमें you know quote unquote Canadian experience. आपको Canadian experience कैसे मिलेगा अगर आपको Canadian कोई कंपनी हायर नहीं करेगी, तो ये catch 22 है. But when I did land my first job, it was in the settlement sector. So I was working with other newcomers and refugees, and I noticed that all of them, newcomers, refugees, highly skilled, so much potential, but were not running into same systemic barriers. Volunteer वो कर रहे थे मेरे इदारे के साथ because वो Canadian experience garner करने की कोशिश कर रहे थे. So you know, we knew कि systemic challenges हैं. इस पे अब रिपोर्ट्स भी बहुत आ रही हैं एंड बिकॉज जॉब्स नहीं मिलते तो रीसेंट स्टडी इकोनॉमी जो है फूड डिलीवरी वर्क या उबर लिफ्ट करीम जो भी कंपनी हो मोस्ट न्यू कमर्स 60% of people delivering these services are newcomers and उनमें से जो majority हैं वो racialized हैं. ठीक. तो जब भी मैं उबर में बैठती थी every single driver I came across was, you know, maybe from Nigeria, maybe from Iran, maybe from Syria, and a lot of them from Pakistan and India. So we thought कि अगर हम Uber को use करें, not as the entire story, because Uber is not the identity, of course, but if we use Uber as an entry point into this oral history of what happens when you do land in Canada, the complex experience. ठीक है, कहीं पे upward mobility भी हो रही है, बहुत जगह downward mobility भी हो रही है. अब how do you make sense of it? Shame भी है. गिग इकोनॉमी आइसोलेशन भी है जो बहुत डिफरेंट है कैब से. कैब ड्राइविंग से बहुत डिफरेंट है बिकॉज देयर टैक्सी स्टैंड होता है, एक कम्युनिटी अ लॉट ऑफ टाइम्स बिल्ड हो सकती है. गिग इकोनॉमी में आप ऐप पे काम कर रहे हैं, राइट? आपके साथ मतलब आप प्रोटेस्ट भी नहीं कर सकते. सो लॉट ऑफ पीपल टॉक्ड अबाउट कि जब उबर अपनी पॉलिसी चेंज करता है एंड वी वांट टू यू नो एजिटेट, हम कर ही नहीं सकते बिकॉज गिग इकोनॉमी इतनी फ्रैगमेंटेड होती है. तो वी यूज्ड उबर एज एन एंट्री पॉइंट, the life stories most of the people are from India and Pakistan and map the story of why they came, how they came, and then what happened to them afterwards.
Very interesting. अच्छा, डॉक्टर साहबा को साथ शामिल करते हैं, डॉक्टर सनोबर को. डॉक्टर साहबा आप हैं हमारे साथ? जी डॉक्टर साहबा.
जी शाहिद साहब मैं मौजूद हूँ.
जी डॉक्टर साहबा आप भी शरीके गुफ्तगू हो, बल्कि सारे ही किसी को भी जो भी बात करना चाहे तो ये सारा इंटरेक्टिव है, तो किसी वक्त भी कोई कर देगा तो
मेरे ख्याल में ये बेहतर होगा कि इसको ऑलमोस्ट ओपन कर दिया जाए ताकि
नहीं, वो ओपन ही है ऑलमोस्ट.
अनब मैंने बहुत शुक्रिया एक तो आपका मुकालमा को ज्वाइन करने का. मैंने आपकी कुछ चीजें पढ़ी हैं और आपको मैंने सुना है और मैं बहुत मुतासिर हूँ आपसे कि आप हमारी उम्र की हैं और इतना अच्छा काम कर रही हैं. लेकिन ज्यादा हमें अफसोस भी नहीं है क्योंकि हम जहाँ बैठे हैं वहां हम कुछ भी नहीं कर सकते, तो हम इसको एंजॉय करते हैं कुछ ना करने को. खैर अच्छा, मुझे ना मेरे जब मैंने एक तो ये कि मैंने ओरल हिस्ट्री की टर्म जो है वो मैंने बकायदा आपकी किताब से और आपकी गुफ्तगू से सुनी. इससे पहले क्योंकि मैं एक नालायक शख्स हूँ तो मुझे नहीं पता था. मेरे जहन में यही एक सवाल था कि हम जो एकेडेमिया में हैं या यहाँ पाकिस्तान में, हम यहाँ अब रिसर्च को बहुत ज्यादा अपनी तरफ से प्रमोट करने की कोशिश करते हैं और हमारे लिए वो चीज़ इम्पोर्टेंट है जिसमें जो डॉक्यूमेंटेड हो और इसमें बहुत ज्यादा रेफरेंसेस हो और रेफरेंसेस की क्वालिटी बहुत अच्छी हो. तो अच्छा, वहाँ पर ओरल हिस्ट्री को आप किस तरह से देखती हैं कि वो जो डॉक्यूमेंटेड है हिस्ट्री उसको वो कैसे चैलेंज करती है या उस पर कैसे उस पर इम्पैक्ट डालती है?
Thank you so much. Important सवाल है and thank you for engaging with my work. अच्छा, इस पे काफ़ी डिबेट हो चुकी है एकेडेमिया में भी and I think कि काफ़ी एक मूवमेंट है एकेडेमिया में to overcome this debate as well कि हम इन दोनों को जो documented history या archival history है, written history है या conventional quote unquote history है और जो oral history है हम इनको as opposites ना देखें ना हम देखें कि इनके बीच में कोई जंग है. I think that was an initial approach because the question was about objectivity versus subjectivity. And I think increasingly academia में भी एक understanding है कि objectivity को हमें deconstruct करना पड़ेगा because who writes history, right, is always a subjective question as well. ठीक है, जब भी हम किसी भी तरह के रिसर्च कर रहे हो, साइंटिफिक रिसर्च हो, ऑब्जेक्टिव रिसर्च हो, क्वांटिटेटिव रिसर्च हो, what we choose to include means that we have chosen to exclude something as well. These are all choices, subjective choices we make, historians make. आर्काइव में कौन सी चीज आएगी, कौन सी चीज नहीं आएगी, म्यूजियम में किस तरह इंफॉर्मेशन प्रेजेंट होगी will also determine कि किस तरह इंफॉर्मेशन एब्सेंट होगी, right? So I think there is an increasing recognition कि we're not so hung up on objectivity like that. And I think that allows us to then look at oral history as not something that is, not something that's going to replace conventional history, but something that coexists. Urvashi Batalia jo hai, Indian oral historian, somebody I learned a lot from and I really look up to. I'm going to steal her quote here, where she said कि जो history है और जो memory है, because oral history memory के बारे में है, memory पे focus करता है, right? So history और memory है वो sisters हैं, they're sisters, right? They kind of go hand in hand. So I think that is something that we need to change the way we kind of approach it and the way we look at it. I think the two complement each other. I think जो South Asia में, Pakistan में specifically, but I also think this goes broader than South Asia, but specifically Pakistan, South Asia में जो एक हमारे पास चैलेंज है कि जो हमारी ऑब्जेक्टिव हिस्ट्री है, वो जो टेक्स्ट बुक हिस्ट्री है या जो म्यूजियम हिस्ट्री है, या इवन कुछ आर्काइवल हिस्ट्री है, वो पोलिटिसाइज्ड हिस्ट्री है, राइट? वो आइडियोलॉजिकली ड्रिवन हिस्ट्री है. So in that sense, sometimes oral history can get you closer to whatever that truth is. And I don't believe there's one truth, there's multiplicity of truths. And that's what oral history allows us to do. Multiple truths can coexist. So it allows us to get closer to that because हमारी जो किताब है, बल्कि अभी सुबह मैं डॉन में ही पढ़ रही थी कि right now in Bangladesh, फिर से जो किताबें हैं वो रिवाइज हो रही हैं. When I did my research on my third book, 1971, and I was in Bangladesh, there was this conversation then as well कि जब भी regime change होती है तो history भी तब्दील हो जाती है. अब quote unquote वो आपकी official history है, conventional history है. पाकिस्तान में जो हमारी text books हैं, पाकिस्तान studies की, वो massively revised हुई थी after the 1971 war. तो ये नहीं है कि history we often see it कि एक static चीज है, तो जब भी हम उसके बारे में पढ़ेंगे, whenever we look back to it, तो वही हमें objective truth मिलेगा. That is not true. History gets framed and reframed. Archives get framed and reframed, right? Jab colonial powers were setting up archives, there was a particular interest over there, right? So who sets up archives, who writes history is a question of power. So oral history actually allows us to deconstruct that power and say, well, what about ordinary people who did extraordinary things in very extraordinary moments, right? How did they make sense of these big macro events that are happening to them? So when I speak to researchers, to students, I used to teach as well in Islamabad, मेरा focus होता है कि आप इन दोनों को इस तरह ना, don't pit them against each other. अब इस तरह ना देखें कि एक जो है दूसरे को अटैक कर रहा है या जो दूसरे की स्ट्रेंथ है उसको कम कर रहा है. That is not what's happening. See how the two can complement each other and get us closer to a more, holistic, more true, if that can be anything, history, essentially. So, and I'll read a quote here just because I have it really, really handy. And this is from Urvashi Batalia's book, The Other Side of Silence. I don't know if anybody's read it over here, but it's such, significant work on partition. So she writes that there's been considerable research to show that memory is not ever pure or unmediated. right? So much depends on who remembers when, with whom, indeed to whom, and how. But the way people choose to remember an event, a history, is at least as important as what one might call the facts of that history. For after all, these latter are not evidence. Instead, they too are interpretations as remembered and recorded by one individual or another. So what she's really trying to say is कि हाँ जी हमारी जो memory है बिल्कुल वो shift भी होती है, malleable भी है. अगर आप सवाल पूछेंगे तो शायद आपको कोई और जवाब मिले, अगर मैं सवाल पूछूंगी शायद मुझे कोई और जवाब मिले. If a man asks a question versus a woman, if somebody who's an insider to the community asks versus somebody who's an outsider, right? All those things might shape the response. You might get a different response. But even facts are also interpretations recorded by somebody at a particular point in time, right? So that's how I look at oral history ki ek bahut value hai hamare region mein. I also feel that it allows us to record history in a more decolonial way. Because हमारा जो region है इसमें जो oral tradition है undivided, India में बहुत rich culture है इसका. And जो written word है वो colonial powers के साथ, it really got institutionalized. इसके ये ज़्यादा significant है. ये ज़्यादा, this is more accurate. This is more objective. All of those things are also colonial ideas. So for me, turning back to oral history allows us to decolonize the way in which we think, the way in what we give importance to. It allows us to, shake that power center a little bit as well. And then the last thing I'll say is for researchers, I think मैंने काफी struggle किया. हम किस्सा की बात कर रहे थे कि इधर मैं कौन सी stories document करूँ. I'm not saying they're not enough stories to document. There's a lot over here. इधर एक पूरा indigenous oral history culture है in Canada as well. But I think कि जो South Asia में because we are still very new countries, जो richness है of the oral tradition और जो stories हैं जो नहीं capture हुई, right? That gives so much more to document there right now. And we are also losing people who can tell us these stories. जो मैंने partition पे काम किया था, most of the people I interviewed have now passed away, right? Because ये किताब आई थी, अब इसको exactly 10 साल हो गया publication को, पर मैंने लिखना और research उससे अब काफी देर पहले शुरू किया था 2010 में. So most of those people have passed away. A lot of people I interviewed for the 71 book have passed away. So I also feel कि South Asia में एक urgency भी है. Particularly when it comes to these historical events, कि अगर हम समझना चाहते हैं, अगर हम partitioned जो हमारी histories हैं, कि आप इंडिया में अगर पढ़ेंगे बिल्कुल एक आपको different history सामने आएगी, पाकिस्तान में वही event को देखेंगे बिल्कुल different history सामने आएगी, बांग्लादेश में एक different history सामने आएगी. If you want to go beyond these partitioned histories to really understand what people's experiences were, then there's an urgency, there's an immediacy to this work. So I think that for me is also political. We must recover, we must document, we must archive before we are left only with the packaged, linear, myopic, narrow, jingoistic narratives of the state on all sides of the border.
बहुत शुक्रिया अनम. शाहिद साहब कोई और सवाल करना चाहता है?
नहीं आप करें. ये इंडिया से एक दोस्त है हमारी जिन्होंने अनम के लिए शायद ज्वाइन किया आज, तो इनसे सवाल ले लेते हैं, उसके बाद फिर आप जारी रखिएगा जी.
सलाम, शुक्रिया शाहिद साहब, शुक्रिया अनम. जी मैं इंडियन हूँ बट अभी कनाडा में हूँ. So अनम, my question was as a fellow researcher, आप because you've looked at partition, फिर आपने 1971 देखा और कश्मीर देखा, ये सारे topics are very disheartening and traumatic. How do you decompress?
That's a great question. The simple answer is I don't. but I should. It's hard work, and I think this is also an important question because I think it's also related to the ethics of doing this work. I know आप पूछ रहे हो maybe more from the lens of trauma and the way in which vicarious trauma, जो second-hand trauma होता है, researchers को impact करता है. And the reason I say this is also related to the ethics of doing this work is because if you're not mindful of how it's impacting you, it will impact your work as well, right? So it is difficult work, and I will, not whitewash that. A lot of times जब मैंने stories document की हैं, especially जब trauma ongoing है या violence ongoing है, so it's been very difficult for me once I come back. The way it manifests for me, everybody is unique. The way it manifests for me is in my dreams. So what I often find when I'm doing these interviews, when I'm really in the work, I see those stories replay in my dreams and I become part of those stories. So it really affects me. I experience insomnia, sleeplessness bhi hoti hai, anxiety bhi hoti hai. It's had an impact on mental health because it's also the act of doing this work. Then it's the act of putting this work out there. And in South Asia, to what Dr. Snober was saying, it's difficult to do this kind of work, and it also means backlash. It also means different levels of attacks. वो social media पे हो या वो institutionalized हो, जिस तरह भी हो. So that also takes a huge impact on the person who's doing this research. I know that I always felt like if people have trusted me with their story, there's also responsibility. So something I really struggle with is मैं accurately represent कर रही हूँ या नहीं, right? अगर उन्होंने मेरे साथ ये story share किया, do they know the risks of sharing the story with me? I have a lot of privilege that works to protect me. But what happens to the people whose stories I put forth, right? Could this mean risk for them? So the reason I'm talking about all of this is because, it's related to the ethics of doing this work, but it's the complexities of doing this work and the layers that you have to think through and the layers that impact you as a researcher. So for me, personally, I am very open about this. I've been in therapy for 10 years. It's something that's very important. And, if that feels like the right approach, I always encourage it. But that's not the only way. For me, it's an important outlet. I've also trained as a counselor. So, and I felt this was very important. I started doing this training जब मैं partition पे ही काम कर रही थी, because I realized very quickly कि oral histories जो है, personal stories जो हैं, वो stories of trauma हैं. And I need to learn how to not push people to tell me their story. Because as researchers, especially as a young researcher, as a young oral historian, not now, but early on in my career, there's this motivation that I want to be the one who breaks the story. I want to be the one who tells a story that has never been told before. I want to have the headline. I want to have the byline, right? And I think there's a very big question here, right? Because as storytellers, आप journalist हो, researcher हो, oral historian हो, whatever term you use, आपके लिए story है. मैं जितना भी vicarious trauma experience करूं, मैंने वो experience नहीं किया first hand that the survivors have experienced, right? So I get to leave, I get to move away, I get to go back to my home. For them, it is not a story. So I did this training and to really learn कि जो non-verbal communication है, जो non-verbal ways हैं जिसमें लोगों का trauma manifest करता है या display होता है, how can I tune that? How can I respect silence? How does silence sometimes say more than words? कौन सी histories हैं जो unsayable histories हैं? That is not my job to push somebody to share if they don't want to. Maybe they will never share. Maybe that is just a history that can never be verbalized, right? How do I respect that? How do I bring that into my writing? And that really helped me. I'm actually back in Toronto now. And in addition to this work, I'm back in school doing counseling psychology to license as a therapist, which is something I used to do in Pakistan. And so that gives me a community as well. Now, of course, that is not the the kind of approach everybody may take or that's right for them. But then you find your own mechanisms. You find your own community. For a lot of writers, it's a writing community. In Pakistan, I think, unfortunately, I never had this. And I think a lot of writers don't. I really had to build it. Because उस तरह का कोई book clubs वगैरह कम है, इस तरह के dialogues कम है. I think technology is allowing us to do this, but it really wasn't there when I started off. But I know other writers who find that, you find your ways of catharsis. Maybe that is your journal. I don't know, but you need to find a way to share what's happening to you. मेरे लिए writing is catharsis. I write only about things that make me happy. I'm lazy. So I need to get really pushed to want to tell a story. And usually मेरा जो trigger होता है, and something is making me really angry and I can't do anything, I feel helpless because I can't change the world, I write about it. So for me, writing in itself becomes cathartic. but I think everybody has to come to it in their own way. But thank you for that
Thank you.
question. It's a great
No,
question.
thank you.
थैंक यू। जी शुमाइला जी, डॉक्टर साहब शुमाइला कुछ पूछना चाह रही हैं, इनको भी साथ लेते हैं। जी शुमाइला।
जब मेरे ना दो सवाल हैं, दोनों आपस में लिंक्ड हैं। एक तो ये कि जो आपने इतनी रिसर्च की, उसमें आप देखते हैं कि पाकिस्तान और इंडिया में जो नैरेटिव्स प्रमोट किए जाते हैं, उनको बैलेंस करने के लिए आपने मतलब आप क्या सजेस्ट करती हैं? और दूसरा ये जो हमारी हम सोशल मीडिया को सिर्फ पोलराइजेशन के लिए स्पेशली पाकिस्तान में यूज कर रहे हैं, इसको हम पीस प्रमोट करने के लिए किस तरह से इसको यूटिलाइज किया जा सकता है?
आपको जो दूसरा सवाल है मैं पहले आंसर करूंगी। आई थिंक इट्स इजियर फॉर मी टू आंसर। आई थिंक कि टेक्नोलॉजी, सोशल मीडिया एक टूल है, एक प्लेटफॉर्म है, हम उसको इस्तेमाल करना चाहे हम कर सकते हैं। यू कैन हैव इट फॉर डायलॉग्स लाइक दीज और यू कैन हैव इट फॉर पोलराइजिंग डायलॉग्स। आई थिंक इसमें चैलेंजेस हैं, सेंसरशिप है, सर्वेलेंस है, वी हैव टू बी माइंडफुल ऑफ दैट। दोज आर रियल रियलिटीज वी आर नेविगेटिंग, ठीक है। बैकलैश है, अगर आप एक पीस इनिशिएटिव रन करते हैं, यू कैन अज्यूम कि किसी मोमेंट पे, स्पेशली अगर वो मीनिंगफुल हो जाता है या वो उसकी आउटरीच ज्यादा हो जाती है, कहीं ना कहीं यू विल रन इनटू some kind of resistance, challenge, maybe some backlash, maybe some threats, right? उसका level vary कर सकता है. So I think that is true, but I also think कि काम हो रहा है, काफी काम है. I think, जो platforms हैं, like maybe this answers your first question as well. जो platforms हैं, like 1947 Partition Archive, जो Berkeley में based है, but उनका जो काम है all over South Asia है, और वो social media पे भी वो stories share करते हैं. I think platforms like that doing incredible work to bring forth oral histories and across lines, history across lines, across the India narrative or Pakistan narrative. I think that is happening. I was personally running कल्चरल एक्सचेंज इनिशिएटिव्स। मैं स्काइप इस्तेमाल करती थी उस वक्त, अब आई थिंक कोई भी स्काइप नहीं इस्तेमाल करता, आप जो भी प्लेटफॉर्म इस्तेमाल करें, बिकॉज आई वाज, तो मेरे पास एक्सेस था टू स्टूडेंट्स, एंड सो आई यूज्ड टू यूज दैट, and I had connections to schools in India because of some work I had done earlier with the Citizens Archive of Pakistan. उनका exchange for change program होता था, जो they used to take students across. So because of that, I had built relationships with schools in India, and I had relationships with schools in Pakistan. So I used to, in my classroom, nobody really knew, and nobody's, those are small scale, right? So they don't raise the alarm bells like that. We used to run dialogues between Indian and Pakistani school children, and that was very powerful. I cannot tell you how powerful it was. अगर आपने मेरे काम के साथ ये story शायद repetitive होंगी, but they stay with me because they are that impactful. Once I was speaking to 7th graders in a school in Mumbai in India, and I told them कि आप जो मर्जी सवाल है पूछ लो, कुछ शुरू में काफी hesitant थे, and then when I said that to them, they had, young children have questions, terrorism के बारे में question थे, Islam के बारे में questions थे, about so many things. And then finally 20-40 minutes after the conversation, one child got up and she said, now I know not all Pakistanis are terrorists, I can think of going there too. Now that was the power of a 20-40 minute conversation, right? I've had other students who said हमने बात ही नहीं करनी, हमने नहीं करना, and then I was conversation kar lete, and then if you don't want to do it, we won't. And they would walk out of that saying, when are we doing this next? They also like football, they also like biryani. So I do think, especially between North India, I want to be mindful because there are regional differences, but North India and cities like Lahore, Karachi, Islamabad, ye connections can be very powerful, dialogue can be very powerful, and aap usko innovative tareekon se use kar sakte. I know LAMS and I think Ashoka University thi Delhi mein that ran a similar kind of student exchange. So if you have access to students, and you don't have to publicize it, be mindful of how you share. I don't share everything on media because our states are very scared of social media because they're scared of changing narratives. So मैं सब कुछ नहीं share करती, right? So be mindful also. You can do really important work leveraging technology, but you don't have to broadcast it if you think that you broadcasting it will make the work stop. End of the day, हमने काम करना है. So you will have to navigate, and लोग कह रहे हैं, हमेशा से करते आए हैं. One of the biggest learnings for me, ये technology से related नहीं है, but one of the biggest learnings for me जब मैंने 71 पे काम किया, कि एक community थी, छोटी community थी, but community थी of intellectuals, of activists, of writers, जो resist किया था, denounce किया था military operation or state policy of violence. right? And so that was a very inspiring moment for me, कि even in the most difficult moments, there will always be people. States जितना मर्जी try करें कि हम homogenize कर लें लोगों की memory और homogenize कर लें लोगों के perspectives and views, वो नहीं कर सकते. हमेशा एक movement चलेगी, parallel movement चलेगी of resistance and activism, and we just have to keep trying to amplify that. Yeah.
बहुत शुक्रिया। डॉक्टर साहब आपकी तरफ आऊं या आयदा से ले ले सवाल? डॉक्टर स्नोबर, डॉक्टर साहब।
जी 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 सर, ले लें जो
जी
करना चाह रहे हैं सवाल।
जी जी आयदा।
जी, अस्सलाम वालेकुम आनम. First of all, I have not had the privilege to read your books, but इस session से पहले I looked a little into their themes. तो मैंने notice किया था कि one theme which you have really talked about is belonging and identity, especially when it comes to South Asian communities. And I also see that most of it has come from the region's complex history or its political landscapes. But most of it has become past for us now, especially the stories about partition and everything. It's long lost past for most of us in this generation. So do you think in any way it is affecting how people see their belonging to their country, or it has affected how they perceive, let's say, their connection to their nation or their political backgrounds or anything? Does it in any way affect the connection?
Yeah,
Just because it's long lost past?
yeah, that's a really great question. The short answer is absolutely yes. And I think the reason I, as a third generation Pakistani, got interested in this work is because it impacts me somehow, right? And if you notice, पिछले ये जो oral history का culture है, जो recovery है, I should say, और जो एक archiving का culture है, that's being led by a lot of third, fourth generation Pakistanis and Indians over the last 15 years. पिछले 15 सालों में we've seen this resurgence. ठीक है, 1947 पार्टीशन आर्काइव हो गई, सिटीजन्स आर्काइव ऑफ पाकिस्तान हो गया, जो पार्टीशन म्यूजियम अमृतसर में है, कोलकाता म्यूजियम जो अभी रिसेंटली खुला है. So these are all efforts that are being led by younger generations. So we have to ask the question why, right? And I think for a lot of us, we have stumbled upon this history in some way. मेरे एक anecdotal, by chance, coincidental, encounter था, क्योंकि मेरा जो पहला job था वो Citizens Archive के साथ था, and I got introduced to oral history, and I was literally my bread and butter कि मैं जाऊँ लोगों की stories collect करूँ, and through that I encountered a story which made me pause and stop and realize that the way I understood the past, and therefore the way I understood my present, was very limited. And I needed to know more. So for a lot of people, in the third generation, that is the reason they maybe encounter a family story or a history and they want to know more. Yeah, they only encountered silence in their families and they want to know what's behind that silence. They want to recover that story before those people pass away as well. So that's been the prompt for a lot of people. But I think even if you're not actively thinking about it, you're not a researcher, oral historian, it absolutely shapes our sense of patriotism, our understanding of identity, our understanding of belonging, and therefore our understanding of who does not belong, right? So I think one of the things that happened in the aftermath of partition is that, let me take a back step. Firstly, I think for me, partition जो है एक static event नहीं है. I don't think it's a long lost history, because I think long lost history is something that we can move on from. I don't think this is a static history we can move on from. I see partition and all my work as an ongoing process, right? And it started before 1947 for me, right? It starts with colonization. So हम जो violence देखते हैं partition, वो overnight violence, हमें लगता है overnight violence है, वो overnight violence नहीं है. वो एक institutionalized violence है जो colonization के through cement हो रहा है, and वो crystallize होता है at partition. But after partition, what happens is कि India and Pakistan में religious nationalism begins to rise, and the idea that to be a Pakistani means to be a Muslim and a particular type of Muslim. And to be Indian means to be Hindu. That is not true. That's not fact, but that is the perception. That is the view. So then what happens to religious minorities on both sides? So questions of like, go back to Pakistan, in India, like slogans जिस तरह के इस्तेमाल होते हैं, या पाकिस्तान में जो तशद्दुद होता है, जो violence होता है on religious minorities, where is that coming from? It's coming from this idea of you do not belong. जब India and Pakistan की कोई भी tension होती है, why is it that Hindu temples in Pakistan get attacked? Right? So why do you see that conflation between religion and identity and nationalism? Those are all, productions of the post-partition world that we live in, right? And there's so many others. Up cricket ko le lo. The kind of jingoism you see around India-Pakistan cricket. So, we have absolutely not, it's not a long lost past. It impacts everything. It impacts how we see ourselves. Okay, what does it mean to be a Pakistani? And then it also impacts what it means to see the other. Who is the other? Right? Self and other. And ye bhi ekdam se nahi hua. After partition, a lot of people continued crossing over. जो borders थे वो बहुत porous थे. 1965 war तक, right? But Bengal में they stayed more porous much longer. Migration continued. Bengal में उस तरह नहीं हुआ जिस तरह पंजाब में हुआ कि overnight जो हमने migration देखी. Bengal में it continued for decades afterwards. फिर आपकी जो 71 war हुई, उसके बाद further things got kind of cemented, crystallized, otherization. Textbook की हम बात कर रहे थे. Textbook में एक जो anti-Hindu slant, anti-India slant था, वो further amplify हुआ after the 1971 war, right? Then the 90s have been significant because of everything that was happening in Kashmir. अब आप अगर museums में जाओगे, and अगर आप for example army museum में जाओगे, partition की exhibit देखोगे या 71 की exhibit देखोगे, तो आप you will see the word state-sponsored terrorism over there. Now that is a post 9/11 world, right? So history builds on history. Events are shaped and reshaped by events that take place after the event that you're interested in. So everything that happens after 47 shapes our memory of 47, and 47 shapes how we see those subsequent events. So for example, in Pakistan, the way we look at 1971 is that, India was taking revenge for Pakistan breaking up India in 1947. So 71 is used as that rhetoric. It's evoked again and again and again. So, and I think everything we're seeing in India right now with oppression and human rights violations against Muslim community comes from the question of identity and belonging. The question of patriotic citizen. Patriotic citizen kaun tha? Jo nahi gaya, that the person who did not migrate, right? That was the idea. So everybody who migrated was a treacherous citizen, right? And then the person who stayed back, the community who stayed back, must constantly prove their patriotism in every match, every event, in their daily life. They must constantly prove that, we belong. We are not treacherous. We are loyal. So that loyalty card is its roots are in what we saw in 1947, and of course much before. As I said, it doesn't start in 1947. It starts with colonization for me. Does that make sense?
Yes, that answers my question. Thank you.
जी डॉक्टर स्नोबर. डॉक्टर साहब.
जी ठीक है. अच्छा ना, मुझे ये बताइएगा कि अच्छा हमने जो जिन 3 पहलुओं पे आपने काम किया है, पार्टीशन पे, कश्मीर पे और 71 पे, अच्छा हमने इस सारी तारीख को जो हिस्ट्री की किताबें हैं उनसे पहले हमने फिक्शन में पढ़ा है, खासतौर पर क्योंकि मैं लिटरेचर की स्टूडेंट हूँ तो मैंने ज्यादा वहां से समझा है. कुरतुल हैदर हैं, मुहसिन हुसैन तारड़ हैं और अब्दुल्ला हुसैन हैं. तो क्या उर्दू का कोई ऐसा फिक्शन राइटर है जहाँ से आपने उनसे लिया हो? मंटो वगैरह भी हैं, अफसाना निगार वगैरह भी हैं, जिनसे आप इंस्पायर हुई हो? क्योंकि मैंने आपकी गुफ्तगू में अंदाजा लगाया कि जो हिस्ट्री है वो शायद आपको इसलिए भी अच्छी लगती है कि बहुत करीब है स्टोरीज से, यानी उनके जरिए से आप जो आपको कहानी सुनाने का शौक है वो भी आपका पूरा होता है. तो मुझे बताइए, उर्दू के किसी राइटर से आप इंस्पायर हुई हैं?
Bilkul, that's a great question. I think fiction or storytelling and oral history for me all, I think sometimes fiction does such a much better job at it telling us about history. Manto is somebody I am very, very, very inspired by. मंटो की, बल्कि अभी मैं रिसेंटली पिछले हफ्ते ही पार्टीशन पे एक वर्कशॉप कर रही थी और मैंने काफ़ी ओरल हिस्ट्रीज के बारे में बोला, मगर मंटो जिस तरह कैप्चर करते हैं, the violence of partition and the absurdity of the otherization process. Especially, जो खोल दो है, जो मैंने वो पढ़ा पिछले हफ्ते ही, the way that shook people, the way they could relate to that instantly. और रूम में बांग्लादेशी भी थे, Indian भी थे, Pakistani भी थे, all religions, everybody was there, but the way everybody just instantly connected to that, right? फिर जो गंगाराम के ऊपर जो छोटी सी स्टोरी है, Garland. I think that is such a powerful way of explaining कि जो absurdity है of these lines and divisions. So Manto, somebody I'm really inspired by. And then I think Khushwant Singh की जो Train to Pakistan है, I think that is an incredible book. Papsi Sidhwa, of course, not Urdu, but I'm just going to mention her here because we lost her recently. Ice Candy Man. So I think जो fiction ने किया है, a lot of times non-fiction can never even come close to that truth, because fiction is not preoccupied with binary lines and black and white. Fact क्या है? It is okay with the complexities. It is okay with the contradictions. And जब मैंने partition पे काम किया था, I realized contradictions are often the only truth. तो जो इंसान मुझे बता रहा है कि मेरी जो फैमिली थी, हम ट्रेन के जरिए आए और जो सिख कम्युनिटी थी वो अटैक कर रही थी ट्रेन्स को, वही इंसान मुझे बता रहा है कि मैं आपके साथ आज बात इसीलिए कर रहा हूँ बिकॉज मेरे जो फैमिली फ्रेंड थे, या एक माय फादर्स जो एक सिख फैमिली थे हमारे साथ रहते थे, उन्होंने हमारी जिंदगी बचाई, राइट? तो इन द सेम ब्रेथ दे टेलिंग मी कि एक कम्युनिटी हमें अटैक भी कर रही थी और उसी कम्युनिटी के जो लोग थे उन्होंने हमें रेस्क्यू भी किया। तो ये जो डाइकोटमी है, जो कॉन्ट्रडिक्शंस है, जिनको हम किताबों में बहुत लीनियर तरीके से और बाइनरी तरीके से सेपरेट करना चाहते हैं, प्रेजेंट करना चाहते हैं कि या तो हम रेस्क्यू की बात करेंगे या हम वायलेंस की बात करेंगे, या रोजी हिस्ट्री है या वायलेंट हिस्ट्री है, it's not, it's all of it, it's so layered. So I think fiction gets much closer to that. And बल्कि 71 पे भी क्योंकि किताबें नहीं लिखी जाती पाकिस्तान में, मिलिट्री मेमोर्स ही हमें मिलते हैं, but I think कि जो कुछ लिटरेचर है जिसको मैंने देखा और जिसने I think जो ऑफिशियल साइलेंसिंग है उसको रेजिस्ट किया, वो आसिफ असलम साहब या की जो कुछ किताबें हैं, they are talking about 71 and fiction much before non-fiction work is able to do that. So I think fiction has always had that power.
अच्छा, 1971 पे एक नॉवल है मुस्तनसर हुसैन तारड़ का, और वो है राख। तो कभी आपको चांस मिला तो आप जरूर पढ़िए।
Man, I've heard about it. I have not read it, but thank you for that reminder. Thank you so much. Yeah.
जी जनाब, डॉक्टर साहब आगे चले, कुछ क्वेश्चंस हैं, डॉक्टर शाजिया हैं और ये हमारे
बिल्कुल शाहिद साहब, आप बाकी से
जी 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 जी। अच्छा, ये हमारे इंडियन जो है भारत राव साहब कीजिए क्वेश्चन, फिर डॉक्टर शाजिया की तरफ चले।
Hi, thank you. One of the insights that the partition didn't start in 1948 was an eye-opening one, but I moved towards where we stand right now. I've done a lot of work in the power memory space. That was one of the places I've interacted with. And reconciliation is often framed as a political process, but can memory itself be a form of reconciliation? Do you think cross-border storytelling initiatives like you have suggested, oral histories, or intergenerational dialogues could offer an alternative path to healing past wounds, even in the absence of state-driven reconciliation?
Great question. Questions, I should say. So the first question, can you just repeat that the reconciliation is a political?
Reconciliation currently is often framed as a political process rather than one that could be taken care of people rather than citizens of a certain nation. People, you and me, could sit across and try to reconcile over past differences. But in the grand scheme of things, when countries are involved, it always looks like it's a political process. But can memory step in and be a part of this, be a form of reconciliation?
Yeah, I think absolutely. And I would also say memory is also political, right? Memory is also political. What we choose to remember, when we choose to remember it, who we choose to share it with, what we choose to forget, right? They're all political choices at some level as well. And just, before I answer this specific question, just to say, when I was writing on partition, the partition felt like my story to tell because my family has a partition story. My father's family migrated from Batala to Lahore. My grandmother on my maternal side was involved with, partition rescue efforts. So it felt like my story to tell. When I went to Kashmir and when I went to 71, my positionality changed. I'm an outsider. Right. And, there's a lot of historical political baggage. So what people who chose to even speak to me, who chose to share their memories with me, it's also a political choice, right? If you went, you might have gotten very different answers, a very different response than I did. So I think it's all political, but yes, absolutely memory can step in because memory allows us to complicate things. So maybe मैं fiction की बात कर रही थी, I think memory allows us to do that as well. Because memory उस तरह linear नहीं होती, हम उसको package कर सकते हैं, but वो असल में इस तरह linear नहीं होती. Memory is fragmented. Memory has the ability to hold two truths without trying to reconcile them. So it can tell you both that rescue bhi hua, violence bhi hua, right? Memory also has the power to tell you that, yes, a particular community attacked me or I suffered violence, but there was also a pre-partition past that I was part of. And I say this always cautiously because we tend to romanticize the past, and fault lines hamesha thi, right? Communities had real grievances against each other, but they also lived at a time where there was a codependence because of how society was organized. There was a codependence on each other. So I think memory can really do that. And I will maybe give you an anecdote that can express this in my book. So everybody who's read The Footprints, this is what the book kind of ends on. But it's a story of a young boy who wanted to go to India. He's a Pakistani boy, and I was leading this cultural exchange program for the Citizens Archive. And हमने एक delegation लेके जानी थी पाकिस्तान से इंडिया. वो चाह रहा था कि वो जाए. And mind you, शुरू में वो कहता था कि मैंने बात भी नहीं करनी Indian से. But eventually he wrote letters and postcards. And by the end of the year, he said, I want to go. But his mother said no. And I asked her why, and she was born much after partition, but she said कि मेरे जो family है father side की वो होशियारपुर से आए थे, and my father lost almost everybody in his family. There was a lot of violence, so I don't want my son to go because I'm afraid of what might happen to him. Maybe he doesn't come back. And so I said okay, and I respected that and hung up. A few days later she called and she said actually he can go, and I asked her what changed, and she said I spoke to my father and he said he's going to my home. Right? So the father who had suffered that violence, the father who had lost almost everybody in his family, was also able to remember another past, right? So when partition survivors left overnight, what did many of them do? They left their key with their Hindu or Sikh neighbor or their Muslim neighbor. And many times that neighbor continued to take care of their property, their land, the agriculture, whatever it was. So memory allows us to understand that past is much more nuanced. जो हम third generations, fourth generations inherit कर रहे हैं एक selective past, जो partition survivors की memory है उसको disrupt करती है. ठीक है, उसमें बहुत violence भी है, but उसी violence में आपको और anecdotes और stories भी मिलेंगी. And when I was doing research, I used to tune out. जब इस तरह की कोई बात होती थी ना जो मेरे framework में fit नहीं होती of partition, I would not listen. But slowly I learned to listen, and I realized that when people are talking about the violence, they're also telling me all these other things which are as true. And Ashish Nandi is an Indian political psychologist. He's done research and he found that 40% of a sample were rescue stories. So that is what memory allows us to do. It allows us to complicate the linear past, and it absolutely offers a way for reconciliation. I think oral histories can really offer that. I don't know its state of textbooks right now because they've gone through revisions, but NCERT की जो किताबें थी जब मैं रिसर्च करी थी उन्होंने उर्वशी बटालिया की oral histories इस्तेमाल की थी, and I think that's such a beautiful way for children to learn the truth about partition. Violence हुआ, but it complicated across lines violence था, and that can help us move towards a different future as opposed to thinking that one community was the perpetrator and one community was the victim. It helps us break those lines. Does that answer your question?
Yep, it does. I do have one more question. I'll do circle around to that at a later time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ji, Dr. Shazia.
Thank you, Anam, for your talk. पहले तो I don't know whether the question I'm going to ask is directly relevant to your work. लेकिन थोड़ी सी I want you to reflect on the situation. Particularly, Ada has talked about it. That somehow हम partition की बात कर रहे हैं, उसके बाद जो immigration की बात कर रहे हैं, just divide की बात कर रहे हैं. So that was a political event, emotional event. लेकिन अगर हम recent times में देखें और अगर आप इमिग्रेशन को देखें जो willful immigration है, the people somehow moving out from Pakistan particularly to USA and Canada, उसका नंबर बहुत बड़ा है. तो हर साल लाखों की तादाद में people are moving out from it. So I was thinking that what kind of oral histories these people have. क्या हिस्ट्री का कोई स्कोप है? क्या कल गुजरा हुआ कल हिस्ट्री नहीं है? क्या हम हमेशा बहुत पीछे जाके हमें हिस्ट्री को बहुत आगे से व्यू करना है? तो what about these people? क्योंकि मैं आप थोड़ा सा फ्रेम करूं इसको एथिकल पर्सपेक्टिव में तो somehow there's a concern that there's an outpouring of care from the east to the west. So लोग अपने प्यारों को छोड़ के जाते हैं और they do not वो nostalgic feeling के साथ नहीं देखते, वो एक privilege की feeling के साथ पीछे पलट के देखते. So how do you see when you connect to people over there, how do you see कि उनका क्या narrative है? क्योंकि सब वो भी तो unfold हो रहा है ना day to day basis पे. Another history is in the making. और जो हमारी young generation है, अब हम क्लासों में पढ़ाते हैं, the class, half of my students are like, teacher, we need reference letter, we need to apply for the visa. That is alarming to us, ठीक है? The problem is कि हमारे context के अंदर there other histories in making और शायद वो बच्चे are more concerned about कि जी हमारा फ्यूचर वो किधर देखते हैं. वैसे तो फ्यूचर किसी के लिए भी श्योर नहीं है, लेकिन somehow the way it has been, built in their minds कि जी कहाँ पे ज़्यादा they are secure and all that, वो सारी चीज़ें. But the problem is whatever they are leaving behind, you think कि उनका भी उसी वो फ्रेम के साथ वो नॉस्टैल्जिया वो फील करेंगे. हमारे बच्चे तो बड़े खुशी खुशी चले जाते हैं, पर जब वापस पलट के आते हैं तो बड़े प्रिविलेज के साथ वो बताते हैं कि जी वी आर प्रिविलेज और आप पीछे रह गए, शायद आप कहीं और रह गए. सो हमारी एथिकल डोमेन के अंदर दिस इज अ कंसर्न कि द केयर इज बीइंग आउटपोर्ट फ्रॉम द ईस्ट टू द वेस्ट. अपनों को छोड़ के आप जाके गैरों की तो केयर कर रहे हैं, लेकिन the people जिसके लिए आपकी moral responsibility थी, you left them behind. So what do you see? How do you reflect? I know your work is not directly connected to today's जो भी unfold हो रहा है current जो हमारे paradigm history के, लेकिन how do you see it?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting question. As you said, मेरा इस पे काम नहीं है, so I can just give you a lay person kind of perspective on it. But I think I also think इसमें the colonial narrative of like this upward mobility जो मैं पहले बात कर रही थी, right? That is part of it, and that is also internalized, right? कि upward mobility है, and therefore this idea of now I'm in a privileged position and I can, home is the uncivilized, the destitute, the poverty, the backward. वो कहाँ की tropes हैं? Those are all colonial tropes as well. When the reality actually of immigration is, and I can speak very, confidently about Canada, it's far more complex. So it is not necessarily a story of upward mobility. A lot of people are having to step down, right? But what I notice is कि जो एक immigrant survival psychology है ना, उसमें a lot of times you don't want to see the problems. You will see that as like I'm assimilating or I'm working really hard because at least I'm better off. And so a lot of racism does not get noticed because of that. Honestly, a lot of people I will sit down with and I will say, this is racism. They will say, nahi, hamare saath to kabhi nahi hui. And then they will say, actually, I had a whole degree, but I had to go back to school again because वो count नहीं हुई. मैंने कहा वो एक racist ideology है कि आपकी जो qualifications है, especially global south की, they don't count. That is racist. I do think there's an internalization of the colonial narrative and story, and not just past narrative, ongoing narrative कि destitution से लोग आते हैं and they therefore आप जो भी इधर काम करो you're better off, and that is not the factual reality for a lot of immigrants. I think that is there, but I also think and I won't get into this, but in sociology there's a lot of research on also कि nostalgia or किस तरह express होता है and longing and the return migration. We are also seeing a trend of return migration, and that's not necessarily coming from a place of privilege. That's coming from either care for community back home, the longing for parents, the longing for family, the isolation that the West has, or that's coming from this idea कि upward mobility नहीं हुई. So अभी Canada में एक historic decline है in the number of people who are taking citizenship who are qualified enough to take it. 40% decline है. 40% decline है, a historic decline. And in 2024 अभी report आई है leaky bucket, तो आपके जो सबसे ज़्यादा जो लोग जा रहे हैं वापस highly skilled immigrants वापस जा रहे हैं. They're leaving. They're either going back home or they're going to another place. They're not staying because of the challenges I was talking about. So I think it's a bit more complex, but it's ongoing. So let's see how that. I will just have to flag that I will have to drop off. So maybe I can take one or two last final questions, if that's okay.
ठीक। जी अली हैदर।
सो मैम, मेरा क्वेश्चन पोलराइजेशन के साथ ही है कि जिस तरह साउथ एशिया में पोलराइजेशन बढ़ रही है, क्या ओरल हिस्ट्री जो है वो मिस इन्फॉर्मेशन, सर्टेन आइडियोलॉजीज और जो रिविजनिस्ट नैरेटिव्स हैं, क्या उनको काउंटर कर रही है या उनका शिकार हो रही है?
Great question. I think दोनों चीजें हो सकती हैं. I think oral history में भी we need to be mindful कि जो people's personal stories हैं, कई दफा हम as if ये भी बिल्कुल state history से insulated हैं. ठीक है कि स्टेट हिस्ट्री इधर है और पीपल्स हिस्ट्री इधर है, और इन दोनों का कोई ताल्लुक नहीं है, कोई रिलेशनशिप नहीं है. They're not talking to each other, they're not informing each other, which is not true. So my work actually looks at the relationship between the two, and what I find is कि जब एक स्टेट या एक स्टोरी बार बार रिपीट होती है तो वो कई दफा ट्रूथ बन जाती है लोगों के माइंड में भी. ठीक है. सो फॉर एग्जाम्पल इन माई वर्क जो 71 पे था पंजाब में, अ लॉट ऑफ टाइम जो ओरल हिस्ट्री में मुझे स्टोरीज मिल रही थी वो बहुत नीटली ओवरलैप करती थी स्टेट हिस्ट्री के साथ. These are people who have maybe never met Bangladeshi, were in Punjab at that time, division भी था, there was the lack of contact, so they've held on to the state endorsed story. So आपको oral history में absolutely वो मिलेगा, but at the same time because oral history बहुत वास्ट है और पैकेज लाइफ स्टोरी हम मॉडल अगर इस्तेमाल करें स्पेशली तो आपको कहीं ना कहीं डिस्ट्रप्शंस ही मिलेंगी. मैं जब आर्मी के साथ इंटरव्यूज कर रही थी 71 पे, तो इवन विद इन दोज जहाँ पे कंफर्मिंग ऑफ स्टेट नैरेटिव्स हो रहा था, उधर ही एक डिस्ट्रप्शन ऑफ स्टेट नैरेटिव भी साथ ही साथ चल रहा था. सो विद इन द सेम स्टोरी दे वुड बी सेइंग कि हाँ हम derogatory अल्फाज इस्तेमाल करते थे for Bengali population, for example. या जब मैं उधर गया था, I was horrified by some of the conditions, right? Now, sometimes it will just be a pause, it will just be a silence, but what oral history will give you is a messier picture, right? So you have to sift through, right? And then oral history, its beauty ये है कि you can go to more people, right? So then if I just did an army, army was my sample size, then I would come out with a certain history that fits a certain narrative and I can write that book, sure. Or I can write a more, encompassing book by going to other people. Oral history allows you to go across gender, across power, across class, across caste, across geography, and so much more. So it depends on where you go, and if you go and you do a deep enough study, you will always find resistance within oral history as well. But yes, you will also find, where they conform. And कई दफा states क्या करती हैं कि states लोगों की जो personal stories हैं या oral history है उसको appropriate भी कर लेती है selectively, right? So और उसको फिर weaponize करते हैं. And that can be very, very effective. So किसी का असल ट्रॉमा है, आपने वो उठा लिया. फॉर एग्जाम्पल पाकिस्तान में हम उर्दू स्पीकिंग कम्युनिटी का जो ट्रॉमा है, जो बहुत एक रियल ट्रॉमा, हम उसको अप्रोप्रिएट कर लेते हैं, वेपनाइज करते हैं टू एक्सप्लेन अवे पाकिस्तान वायलेंस अगेंस्ट बंगालीज. या कश्मीर में इंडिया जो पंडित कम्युनिटी का ट्रॉमा है उसको उठा के वेपनाइज करता है टू एक्सप्लेन अवे द वायलेंस अगेंस्ट कश्मीरी मुस्लिम्स. या इजराइल जो है वो 7 अक्टूबर का जो वायलेंस है उसको अप्रोप्रिएट एंड वेपनाइज करके अनलीश जेनोसाइड on Palestinians, right? So कई दफा लोगों की जो stories होती हैं वो state appropriate करता है and weaponize करता है. So all of this will happen. All of this will happen. They're not insulated from each other.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yes. Yeah.
अनम बहुत शुक्रिया आपका. अच्छा अनम, मुझे लगता है आप किसी नॉवल पे काम कर रही हैं, ऐसा ही है?
मैं कर रही हूँ. I put a pin in that project right now. वो mob violence पे ही है, but I'm writing it as fiction. But it's based on oral histories, but it's a complicated project. So अभी I've put a pin on it. I'm not sure when it will come out, but it's an ongoing
ठीक.
project.
अच्छा अनम, एक वेरी क्विकली ये था तो आपके स्टार्ट के बारे में, जो आपने जॉब शुरू किया और 600 इंटरव्यूज आपने किए. अगर आप ये नहीं करती तो फिर भी आपकी यही पार्टीशन, डिवाइडेड फैमिलीज, इसी पे काम होता?
I think कैप का जो सिटीजन्स आर्काइव का जो इनिशियल मेरा इंट्रोडक्शन था टू ओरल हिस्ट्रीज, अगर वो ना होता, नो, I may never been gone on this journey. I think I was introduced to the power of oral history through that.
ठीक।
And so वो मैं जहाँ भी जाती हूँ, I talk about the pioneering impact it had on me, because I thought I knew my history and I thought I knew my family story,
ठीक।
and I was very comfortable with that. But what the work at CAP made me do was get uncomfortable. And I think
ठीक।
कई दफा discomfort बहुत जरूरी होता है for it to shift something in us, कि एक neat story है, कुछ fit नहीं हो रहा है, क्यों नहीं fit?
ठीक।
So a lot of my work comes from my early initial introduction to oral history through Citizens
ठीक।
Archive.
अनम, बहुत शुक्रिया, थैंक यू वेरी मच।
Thank you.
So much for having me. Thank you for these incredibly engaging questions. Thank you. And if
बहुत
anybody needs to reach out, I will drop my email in the chat, because I know, I think Bharat, you said you had another question. If anybody does, feel free to reach out.
बहुत शुक्रिया, थैंक यू वेरी
Thank you.
मच।
Very